When my mother-in-law turned family against me, here's how I reacted. Before we begin the story, make sure to subscribe to our channel and never miss more incredible stories every day. Explain why you stole from the family fund, Victoria said, smiling. Her voice carried over the clink of cutlery at Barrow's, the Sunday place where we usually traded coupons and gentle gossip. Tonight the table was packed. Cousins, Alex's Uncle Petre, even Aunt Louise who hates parking after dark. I sat at the end, closest to the draft, hands flat, stomach cold. I'm Jordan, I said. I shelve books for a living. I pay my bills on time. I don't take what isn't mine. Laughter, polite, shaped, like it had been reheated and served. Across from me, Alex looked torn, twisting a napkin. Mom says you pressured Grandpa for 200, Petre said. For your little projects. I felt the word little, the way Victoria lifted it, like a pinching finger. I looked at Alex. We never asked your grandfather for money. Alex's face said I believe you, and then it flickered toward maybe I can't. I thought of our rented duplex with the crooked porch light, the library where Mrs. Delgado waited for the large print biographies, our mortgage hopes folded like paper cranes in a shoebox. This isn't a trial, Victoria added, sweet, just clarity. I heard Ruth's voice in my head from the fence line 2 days ago. If it turns ugly, narrate the facts. Dates, times, amounts. My phone buzzed. Group thread, family ties. A new photo posted by Victoria, a shot of me at the sink, captioned, some people don't contribute unless it benefits them. I stared at the timestamp. It was posted minutes before dinner began. Look at that, Victoria murmured, not looking at me at all. How neat. I felt the floor tilt, not from proof, but from choreography. If I stayed polite, I would drown. If I fought, I'd be called cruel. My marriage, my name, my quiet life. Everything felt like it sat in her palm, turning slowly. The waiter asked for drink orders as Victoria prepared the next accusation perfectly. The first time I met Victoria, she called me considerate. You treat conversation like a library book, returned in good condition, she said, a compliment wrapped around a warning. Back then, Alex and I had just moved in together. I baked muffins for her, blueberry, too sweet, and she smiled without eating one. Her digs were lace-edged at first. Jordan works with books, she'd say. Not ideas, not people, not money, books. The line drew a gentle laugh at Thanksgiving, like a clink of crystal. I told myself I misheard. When Alex proposed at the overlook near the park, Victoria told the photographer, catch them before the shine fades. A month later, she corrected my mother on my job title, librarian assistant, not librarian, in a tone built for penmanship class. I tried to be grateful. She hosted Sunday suppers, sent leftovers in white boxes, commented on our paint colors like a patron. The recent insult still burns. 2 weeks ago, at her backyard fundraiser, she introduced me to the mayor's wife as Sweet Jordan, who's between ambitions. I was wearing my name tag from work because I came straight from closing, circulation desk tally sheet still in my pocket. Between ambitions, I repeated to Alex later. It means my life is a hallway. Alex kissed my forehead. She means well, Alex said. She doesn't, Ruth told me the next day, handing me a jar of pickles over the fence. She means to direct traffic. I promised myself to ignore the little stings, to water the good parts, to choose peace because peace was cheaper than winning. I thought that was maturity. I hadn't learned yet that some people bank on your tolerance like interest. The newest brews arrived with a smile and a perfectly folded napkin. Odd signals began with silence that had a shape. A canceled brunch from Cousin Beth. Rain check. Even though the sun was loud and high. A cool reply from Uncle Petre to a message about the library's used book sale. Then a text came, mistakenly forwarded from Victoria's phone to mine. Don't worry, I've handled Jordan. They'll apologize soon enough. 30 seconds later. Sorry. Wrong thread. Little laughing emoji, as if a window shade snapped down. Handled. I repeated aloud in our kitchen, the word like a hand on the back of my neck. I showed Alex. She must mean the centerpiece thing, Alex said. You suggested chrysanthemums, she's allergic. She ate chrysanthemum salad at the fundraiser, I said. It's on Instagram. But I shrugged, stacked dishes, told myself not to turn every hiccup into betrayal. Still, doubt crept in. At church that week, the pastor waved without stopping. Usually he stops. I saw Victoria hugging the deacon's wives, whispering, patting shoulders like a blessing. She met my eyes for half a second, bright, empty, professional. On Facebook, she posted a long, vague status about gratitude for family who give rather than take and ask rather than assume, and the comments filled with heart emojis and affirmations. It had the smell of air freshener sprayed after a spill. Ruth noticed me staring at my phone on the porch. Pattern or coincidence? She asked. I don't know, I said. Yet, she corrected. Start noting times. Screenshots. Say what you saw, not what you think. I made a new album called Receipts. I put the mistaken forward inside. I took a picture of the church bulletin and my watch. And when Victoria invited us to dinner again, I told Alex we should go. Keep breathing, Ruth said, but keep your eyes sharp. The RSVP went in, and a storm gathered in the group thread. It broke on a Tuesday, 5 hours before the dinner. The Family Ties chat lit up after a story landed like a rock in a bird bath. Victoria wrote, "Quick heads up. Jordan asked Grandpa for $200 last week for emergencies, but suggested we not tell Alex, so I'm stepping in to help budget." There was a chorus of careful condemnations. Beth, transparency is love. Petra, telling spouses is bare minimum. I stared, blinking, drumming the counter with my knuckles. I typed, "That did not happen." Victoria replied within a minute with a scripted gentleness. "We all forget sometimes. No worries. All love." And then on Facebook, she posted a photo of folded towels. Caption, "Some of us give quietly, others keep score." People cheered. My lungs felt small. "We never asked Grandpa for money," I told Alex. Not once. Alex stretched both palms flat, like smoothing cloth. "Maybe Mom misunderstood," Alex said, but their eyes begged me to de-escalate. I made coffee I didn't drink. At work, I shelved a book titled The Art of Deception and felt ridiculous for noticing. I went home early, a sick knot under my ribs. Ruth came over with tea bags and a notebook. "Date, time, exact words," she said. "Screenshots. Who liked the post? Who saw it?" I wrote, "Tuesday, 3:42 p.m. Victoria's accusation, 3:48 p.m. My denial, 3:50 p.m. Victoria's benevolent reply. For 05 p.m. Facebook towels. At 6 p.m. we drove to Barrows. We can leave any time," Alex said at the door, but kept walking. Inside, the table seemed preset for a play. When I sat down, the waiter already knew our drink order. Victoria lifted her glass and said, "Let's clear this up quickly, shall we?" Invitations disappeared like someone flipped a switch on the social grid. The Saturday game night. Taking a break, Beth texted. The craft fair carpool? Full car, though I saw empty seats on Instagram. Even Alex's co-worker barbecue cooled. Next month maybe. With a smiley face that felt like a slapped hand. At home, the quiet got busy. We talked in loops. "I don't want to fight my mother," Alex said. "I don't want to fight you," I said. "I want the truth in writing, with times." We tried to give each other soft landings, but each landing thudded. I packed a small bag with 3 shirts and left it under the bed because leaving felt like the only card I was allowed to hold without playing it. Ruth found me raking leaves that didn't need raking. "Don't walk out of your own life," she said. "Build a timeline. Decide later." She gave me a cheap spiral notebook. "CYA," she wrote on the cover. "Cover your actuality," she said, winking. That night, I opened the Family Ties chat and scrolled back 6 months, noting weird little tonal shifts. Who liked what? When Victoria's praise for Alex grew louder, and her posts about me grew blurred with implication. The pattern was faint, but it existed, like pale threads crossing. I listed phone calls, church events, deliveries, reimbursements. I added screenshots with exact seconds. The notebook grew ugly in a satisfying way. At 11:22 p.m., a private message from Victoria arrived. "Let's talk one-on-one. Tomorrow, no audience." I showed Alex. "Take it," Alex said, hopeful. I stared at the bubble and the neat punctuation. I typed "okay," while deciding I would not go alone. The misstep came from her side, though she'd call it a misunderstanding. The next morning at 9:07 a.m., Victoria meant to send a screenshot to Beth. She sent it to me. It was a cropped bit of our chat with my "that did not happen," followed by her draft reply. "Keep it tender. Remind them of Grandpa's health. Sprinkle in charity." The cursor blinked like a heartbeat. 30 seconds later, she unsent it, then sent, "Coffee at 10? Private?" I didn't answer. I texted Ruth, "Please join." Ruth sent back a thumbs up and a photo of her sturdy shoes. At 10:02, we sat in Victoria's sunroom, glass and white roses. "I'm glad you came," she said, cutting scones with surgical calm. "I want peace." "Me too," I said. "And truth." I put my phone on the table. "I'm recording my own notes." She smiled like a hostess. "Of course." Then her phone vibrated. On the screen, I saw a notification. "Deposit confirmed, $200, Zelle, from a note. Thanks." I glanced at the timestamp. 9:59 a.m. "Busy morning?" Ruth asked. "Church committee," Victoria said, flipping the phone face down. Later, walking home, Ruth said, "Did you catch that name?" "Just A," I said, already replaying the moment. That afternoon, I noticed a duplicated photo in the group album, the towel stack from yesterday posted twice, with 2 different timestamps 15 minutes apart. "Time zone mismatch," Ruth said when I showed her. "Either she edited, or she scheduled, or she's sloppy." That night, I created a folder on my desktop called Crown, because this felt like a coronation she'd planned for years. The first file I dropped in was her mis-sent draft with the blinking cursor. I followed breadcrumbs with the patience I use at work when a book is mis-shelved and the catalog swears it exists. I compared the Family Ties chat activity with Victoria's Facebook timeline. I logged who liked what within 5 minutes. I checked image metadata using the phone's info panel, where, when, which camera. I noticed that her spontaneous porch photos had identical lighting batches, likely taken on one sunny afternoon and released across weeks. I visited the bank to ask a simple question about our own savings, then casually asked the teller to explain how Zelle notes display in statements. She printed a sample and wrote the basic flow. Sender's name initial, memo shows, time exact. I called cousin Beth and asked about the $200. She stumbled, said Grandpa mentioned it. I asked when. She said last Thursday. I said Grandpa was at the outpatient clinic last Thursday until 4. The Zelle notification I saw on Victoria's screen today said 9:59 a.m. Beth got quiet, then said, "I shouldn't be in the middle," and hung up. I wrote that down. I spoke to a former church committee member who said Victoria practices conversations in the mirror. She calls it rehearsing grace, the woman said, with the smile of someone who once believed it. Night after night, I stitched together times, likes, comments, and a ledger of comments Victoria deleted after they did their damage. The pattern wasn't cinematic. It was tidy. Triangulation. Guilt. Reputation threats shaped like concern. "Jordan, can't you give her the benefit of the doubt?" Alex asked. "I did," I said. "I gave it interest." The missing piece was why she needed the story of me to be small. The mini twist arrived on a holiday flyer. Victoria was organizing Christmas at her house again. She always did, though Alex and I offered last year. The flyer used the family's group photo, minus me. In the caption, "Preserving traditions ensures stability for the children." Children. We don't have any yet. At dinner, Alex confessed. "Mom asked me yesterday when we're trying. She said she wants the first grandchild to arrive in a respectable home." My fork touched my plate like a symbol. "Respectable?" I said. "As in, not ours." Alex rubbed their eyebrows. She said our place is transitional. She wants us back nearer her neighborhood by spring. It snapped into focus, control, holidays, access, image. If I looked unreliable, if I looked ungrateful, then any boundary we set could be corrected for family optics. The $200 wasn't about money. It was about leverage. I checked the church calendar. Victoria had scheduled a family values night the week before Christmas. On Facebook, she posted a memory of Alex's first communion with a caption about keeping promises. Then she messaged me privately. "I know you're busy, but please let me handle the holiday schedule." I told Ruth. "She's curating you out," Ruth said. "Make your own invitations with receipts." I opened a new document. Script, facts only. I typed the stakes. If I appease, I lose my name and marriage spine. If I confront, I risk a rupture that might never heal. I closed my eyes and pictured our future kids learning which door to knock on for permission. I decided to collect proof until proof could carry itself across the room. A plan needs quiet. I turned off read receipts and moved the family ties thread to a separate screen. I asked Alex for permission to record our conversations about the conflict so we could hear ourselves. Alex agreed, and we labeled each file with date and purpose. I bought a cheap spiral-bound planner and transcribed my screenshot timestamps by hand. Writing makes memory stick. I exported my Facebook data to check when and from what device Victoria's posts appeared. The broad windows were enough. Patterns around 9 a.m., noon, and 7 p.m. I called the bank's customer service and requested a redacted explanation of Zelle notifications to show a mediator. I printed 3 copies. I asked cousin Beth to meet in public and received a curt decline. I gathered Alex's text with Victoria that mentioned me in third person. Jordan is sensitive. Jordan needs structure. And put them in a folder labeled triangles. I took a single permissioned recording. Me telling Victoria on speaker that the $200 accusation was false, and her answering, "I've done what I must to protect family trust," which is not a denial. I wrote a letter to Mediator Park, recommended by the church office, explaining we needed a structured review. The moral crossroads sat in my throat: appease or confront. Appeasement meant letting my name live under her thumb so Christmas could be photogenic. Confrontation meant dragging sunlight into a room designed for candlelight. I held my breath, thought about a child learning what respectable means, and circled confront on a page. I booked a mediation room for Friday and invited Victoria to attend. Victoria sensed the shift and launched a sympathy blitz. At dinner Thursday, she wrapped my shoulders in a hug that smelled like citrus and censure. "I worry," she told the table, "that Jordan feels judged." People nodded at the idea of my feelings, not at the architecture of her story. "I do feel judged," I said evenly, "by falsehoods with timestamps." Alex squeezed my knee under the table. Ruth waited, sharp-eyed. Victoria dabbed her mouth. "We've all made mistakes," she said, looking at me the way you look at a child who broke an heirloom. "For instance," she added softly, "you told Grandpa you'd pay him back by Friday, which frightened him." I said, "When?" She said, "Last week." Ruth cleared her throat. "Last Friday at 3, she said. "Jordan and I were at my mechanic. We have a receipt. Grandpa was at the clinic until 4:30. I drove him home. Also, the bank prints Zelle times down to the minute." The table went very still, like a pawn noticing a stone. Victoria blinked, recalibrating. "Perhaps I misremembered," she murmured, hand to throat. People breathed again. I almost caved, almost said let's forget it, let's eat. But I saw the future, my smallness becoming our tradition. I set a printed invitation on the table. "Tomorrow at 3, I said, "Mediator Park will host a review. Alex and I will bring screenshots, statements, and timelines." "You're welcome." Victoria glanced at Alex. "Sweetheart," she said, "this is unnecessary spectacle." Alex looked from her to me and whispered, "I'll come if she does." Friday's room was plain, beige walls, a soft clock, a table with notepads. Mediator Park shook hands and asked for first names only. "We'll keep voices low, facts high," he said. I slid the stack of printouts across the table, screenshots labeled with dates and seconds, a ledger of Facebook posts and their comment arcs, the bank's short memo explaining Zelle metadata, the spiral planner's hand-copied timeline. Victoria set down a slim folder that looked like a prop. Alex sat between us, hands interlaced. "We'll start with the $200 claim," Park said. "Jordan, your account." I read. Victoria posted at 3:42 p.m. Tuesday that I asked Grandpa for $200 and told her not to tell my spouse. I did not. At 9:59 a.m. Wednesday, a Zelle notification appeared on Victoria's phone. From a memo thanks. "We can ask the bank, if needed, whether a sender's initial displays like that." Park nodded, writing key times. "Victoria," he asked. She smiled faintly. "I may have conflated conversations," she said. Park asked for supporting messages. She slid forward a single printout. That did not happen." Park set it beside mine. "We'll move to pattern," he said calmly. "Jordan." I showed 2 towel stack posts with mismatched timestamps and the duplicate metadata, and 3 instances of concern posts followed by cousins withdrawing plans. Alex winced. Park looked at Victoria. "Do you dispute the duplication?" he asked. "I schedule posts," she said. "Everyone does." Park folded his hands and said, "Let's examine motive via opportunity over time, not intention." We projected the messages on a portable screen while Park narrated like a gentle accountant. Here, concern post at 7:02 p.m. Here, group chat cools at 7:06. Here, private reassurance to a third party at 7:10 claiming Jordan's instability. He clicked forward. I played the recording of my call, me saying, "The $200 accusation is false." Victoria replying, "I've done what I must to protect family trust." Park asked, "Protect from what?" Victoria exhaled. "From influence," she said. "When Alex married down, I lost." She stopped, closed her eyes. "Control," Park supplied, not unkindly. "Access," I added, and the word hung in the air, metallic. Alex made a small sound, like a page turning. Victoria's mask slipped, only for a second, and I saw the scaffolding. Status first, then story, then love, in that order. "You are not dependable," she said to me quietly. "Your life is small." My heart knocked, but I kept my voice steady. "Small is not the same as weak," I said. Park summarized. "We have consistent triangulation, reputation threats shaped as concern, and scheduling designed to influence group perception." He asked for remedy proposals. I asked for corrections posted in the same spaces as the accusations, for group chat boundaries, and for holiday planning to rotate with clear dates. Victoria's mouth thinned. "You're humiliating me," she whispered. "You humiliated me," I said, "in rooms I didn't even know I was in." Alex reached for my hand and said, "We need the truth written and signed today." Aftermath came like weather. Some relatives shifted toward us, murmuring apologies over text. Beth sent a short voice note. I believed her because she sounded like church. Petra wrote, "I'll bow out of drama," which meant he would continue watching from the bleachers. Victoria posted a carefully crafted statement. "I have been unwell and said things I regret," which gathered compassionate comments without naming me. Park emailed a summary with bullet points and action items. Corrections to be posted by Sunday 5 p.m. Group chat rules to remove veiled accusations. Holiday rotation schedule to be proposed by Wednesday. It felt like cleaning up after water damage. Necessary, unsatisfying. I paid a price too. At work, the circulation desk buzzed with neighbors who read everything. One asked if I was okay at home. Another said my strength was inspiring, which doubled my churning. My manager asked if I needed fewer hours this month. I said no, because the routine was a raft. Alex and I were tender, careful, a little shell-shocked. We learned how much of our marriage had been spent decoding smoke signals. Ruth brought soup and sat in quiet for an hour, as if guarding a door. That night, the Family Ties chat went silent for the first time since I joined it. Silence that tasted like rewiring, not exile. I opened the Crown folder and added Park's PDF. I reread my own notes and underlined one sentence. "We tell the truth, even when it's plain." The corrections were due Sunday at 5, and clocks grow louder when truth is timed. Sunday at 4:52 p.m. Victoria posted 3 corrections. Tight, bloodless, passable. I mischaracterized a conversation about money. Jordan did not request funds. I allowed a private concern to color public comments. I should have addressed it directly. And holiday plans will rotate annually starting this year. No apology for motive, but facts rebalanced. Park sent received. Alex and I outlined boundaries on paper at the kitchen table like we were drawing property lines. Limited contact. No private triangulation. Group messages kept public. No unannounced visits. Holiday rotation written with dates. No concerned posts about either of us, ever. Violations would mean a month of distance and written repair. Ruth read it and clicked her tongue approvingly. We booked 2 therapy sessions with a counselor who liked homework. We practiced phrases, "We'll discuss and respond by Friday." That's incorrect. Here is the updated statement. "No, and thank you for understanding." The first trial came quickly. Victoria invited Alex alone to coffee. Alex replied, "Jordan will join or we'll schedule next week." The reply from Victoria was quick, understood. Our house felt different, like we'd replaced a soft lock with a deadbolt. We hung a photo of us on the hallway wall, not staged, not edited, just us after raking leaves, tired and laughing. I breathed like I hadn't in months. Monday morning, a new notification blinked, and my stomach tightened anyway. It was a message from an uncle in another state. Saw the posts. "Proud of you both for clarity." Simple, grounded. I made tea, sat by the window, and let the ordinary light the room. If you're older, you know reputation runs on rumor until someone demands a ledger. We made a ledger. I learned that dignity isn't noisy. It's a stack of dates, times, amounts, and a calm voice that says, "We can put this on paper." I learned that love without boundaries is only performance, and performance can't feed a marriage. In therapy, we wrote 3 handrails for our life. We answer together about us. We keep receipts for ourselves, not for war. We do not attend trials disguised as dinners. Christmas planning rotated. This year at our duplex with the crooked porch light, Aunt Louise offered to bring extra chairs. Ruth promised to keep watch from her fence, though she swears she's retiring from drama. Sometimes the past tugs my sleeve, whispering, "Appease, or it will be easier." But easier is the pit you don't notice until you're at the bottom. Our hopeful image is simple. Alex and I standing in our small kitchen, steam on the windows, a cake cooling, the group thread quiet, because truth has done its job and doesn't need to be loud. Our practical takeaway is simpler. Write it down, set a boundary, and keep it.